Hey guys, it's Thursday. It's puck time with the Prez. I'm Lawrence Presman, your host. Someone called me out yesterday. They hate my voice. They find me arrogant. Can't do anything about either. Dave Koken with us. Andrew McGinnis. Tons of action going on tonight. I wish the NHL would be a little bit more consistent. 2 games on Wednesday and 48 games on Thursday. Come on, NHL. How about 6 to 8 games every night? Let's bring the boys in. Dave Koken, Andrew McGinnis. Hey, Andrew, what's going on, my brother?
Hey, not too much, Prez. Not a bad day yesterday as far as my advertised play goes, but my first little slumpy day in probably about 2 weeks. A pretty bad day yesterday, so good to be transparent. But back hitting the research today. Not really much I'm loving today. A few plays I like, so got a few plays there, and looking forward to playing basketball tonight as far as personal life stuff goes.
Dave Koken, how are you, my friend?
Fine. Very good. It's a nice time of year. Big trade for the Red Sox, Dodgers, and Twins. We're getting close to spring training. I'm organizing a trip to Arizona with some of the guys. Should be fun.
Yeah, you do that every year, right?
I actually missed last year, but will not miss this year. Already have plans well underway.
Andrew McGinnis, before we get into the show, you went to see 1917 last night. I assume that's in celebration of the year Dave Koken was born?
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw it. It was actually a really good movie. I'm not usually, much of a history guy or war movie type of guy, but I think it's good to learn about that stuff. And honestly, the way it was shot was so great. It was basically shot in all one shot, pretty much. So it's pretty much just 2 straight hours of continuous footage. There's not separate scenes. It's good. I mean, the acting was great. The action was great, but it was very. It's going to sound weird to say, but it was real. They didn't try to make anything too unrealistic, I guess, and flashy. It was just, it is what it was, and it was a great movie. It's up for a lot of awards. Have you guys seen it? Either of you guys?
No. No, but I hear it's going to win the Academy Award. So.
Well, I'm cheering for Ford vs. Ferrari. I thought that was the best movie I saw all year. I started watching Uncut Gems last night. I got an hour into it and turned it off.
Yeah, I've heard it's not good.
I couldn't get through. I honestly didn't care. Like, I watched an hour. I hated every moment, and I'm like, I'm done.
Adam Sandler played his role very well, but I feel like the trailer was very deceiving as far as what the movie was actually going to be about. Did you find that, Prez?
I don't remember the trailer, dude. I barely remember 2 days ago. Come on, man. But I do remember that I'm on a massive run. 2 more days left of my promotion. 7-0 run in NHL, 16-2 NHL run. I've got a play going up tonight. You get my season and playoff package, $300. Actually, I made it $295, so I need to change that. So for anybody who purchased today for the $300, and I know there is one of you, just email Missy at Wager Talk, and she'll give you back. Call it $20 in wager bucks. Tell her I told you that you can have $20 back in wager bucks. So Prez 295. That's Prez 295. We also have a massive Sports Memo site-wide promotion that we'll get to. We've just got so many games on tap today, boys. I think we should get right to it. The first game and the sexiest game is Pittsburgh against Tampa Bay. Pittsburgh on the road, plus 150. Over and under of 6.5 here in this game. And Pittsburgh, I mean, they've, and Dave, I'll go to you first on this. They've really been absolutely rolling for months now. Crosby came back, and the roll continues. They've won 2 in a row, 4 of 5. They've won 8 of 10. And Tampa Bay's matching them stride for stride on a 4-game winning streak. Just beat Tampa 4-2. I got to look at Tampa Bay here in regulation, Dave. I don't know what your thoughts are.
Well, I'm not going against Tampa right now because they're playing at an extraordinarily high level. They're playing the best hockey in the league right now. And we know from last year, when this team gets on a roll, you do not want to get in their way. But I'm not crazy about laying that kind of a price to the Penguins, who are really going to look at this as a huge game. Would lean Tampa because just playing at home and being as hot as they are and having won the last 4 in this series, and also the home team has been really dominant in this series, winning 8 out of 9. The lean has to be to Tampa Bay, but leans aren't plays, so that's all it is.
Yeah, Andrew, look, I understand what Dave is talking about, and I don't want to lay that type of price, but I do want to lay it in regulation. I think Tampa will get it done. I could see it being a 1-goal game, but I'm getting a very short price for Tampa in regulation. I'm on it. You, brother?
Yeah, I've talked about how great Pittsburgh has been all year, fighting so many injuries, the adversity they had with Crosby being out for so long. But I don't think this is the spot for them. I think, like you said, this is a good opportunity for Tampa Bay here in regulation. I don't really like the price for either, though, like a full game, regular money line. I don't think it's a good enough price for Pittsburgh and a cheap enough price for Tampa. Definitely looking to back the home team, especially in a spot like this where it's a big matchup. The trend I want to get out right now is Pittsburgh over in 7 of their last 10 games, 10 of their last 11 in Tampa Bay. I think this game sees a lot of goals. We could say that Tristan Jarry has been, pretty good and putting on for his team a little bit and being there when he has to. Vasilevsky, great goals against average, but right now these two teams are on both an amazing streak. They're looking good. I really, really like this over here, guys.
He's Andrew McGinnis. You can find him at sportsmemo.com. Dave Koken, an iconic legend. You can find him at wagertalk.com. Guys, I'm going to do a scroll change. So remember, I'm on a 7-0 and 16-2 NHL run. You get the rest of my season and playoffs for $295. Use the promo code PREZ295. Okay, boys, let's talk about the Vegas Golden Knights. They're going into Florida, and they find themselves favored. Minus 125, very strange line to me. 6.5 is the total. Vegas, okay, they've won 2 of 3. Other than that, they've lost 7 of their last 10 games. Florida has won 7 of their last 9 games. Dave Koken, I go to you first here. Want to explain this line to me?
Well, yeah, I mean, what happened before the All-Star break, I would kind of throw out. And the Golden Knights have had 3 very good games coming out of the break. Impressive win at Carolina, a dominating win at Nashville, and they played well against Tampa the other night. They were actually the better team for most of that game. Late goal in the empty net made it 4-2, but it was a game that they certainly could have won. The Panthers are 0-2 out of the break. And have they scored a goal? This is a team that relies on offense, and all of a sudden their offense has gone away. They got blanked at Montreal, and then Columbus does them in. So
yeah, I think, sorry to interrupt, Dave. Sorry to interrupt, and I know people will say, why are you in? They beat the Leafs, so they are actually 1-2 since the All-Star break. Okay. I was at that game, and it was extremely painful.
Yes. I stand corrected. I forgot about that game. Now, the good news for Florida is that they have been really good off a loss on the season, even though they did lose 2 in a row here. They're 15-5-0-2 off a loss, so they've shown the ability to bounce back. But the Golden Knights look like they're playing really good hockey right now, and I don't think I'd want to get in their way here.
Guys, before we get into Andrew's thoughts on this game, I just want to make mention, Ralph Michaels, the great Ralph Michaels, has decided to wade his trends and angles into hockey. He tweeted out today how every team in the league is doing after a shutout. I retweeted that, so you can find that at Prez Wager Talk. That it is an incredible sheet of information. So make sure to check that out. Andrew McGinnis, talk to me. Vegas, Florida.
Yeah, well, Vegas had 8 straight road games. I believe this is their 9th and final road game before they head back home. It's either 7th or 8th. But to me, it's really important to finish strong. A lot of people love to fade, especially in hoops. It seems like fade a team before they head home. I'd rather fade them actually on the first game once they get home versus their final game on the road. I think that's a very important game for the coaching staff, for the team to end on a good note, end on a strong note. And I get what you're saying, Prez. On a 10-game scale, they haven't been too impressive, but that feels like a long time now, including the All-Star break. And we're getting a pretty good price here with a team that I feel like overall is just the better team. Vegas has fared pretty well against the Eastern Conference on a larger scale. And, like you said, Dave, on a recent, very, very recent history, that game against Tampa Bay, even though they lost it, I can still learn from how they played and think that they had a good effort. So to me, an L or a W does not always mean good or bad. Sometimes an L could still mean a good game and a good effort. And that's kind of what I saw out of Vegas in their last 3 games. Whereas Florida, everyone's really scoring on Toronto right now. So that doesn't really mean much to me. In those 2 other games, they kind of got blanks. So I'm going to go with Vegas to end their road trip on a great note here and get the job done at, like I said, a pretty good price. Another angle I like to bet overs when teams are finishing their road trip and they're at the tail end. At this point, you must be pretty gassed, must be pretty tired, and they're giving up some goals recently. So I'll go over, but I really like Vegas here tonight, guys.
Everybody, massive sale over at sportsmemo.com. It's for this week only. Any single handicapper you want. Andrew McGinnis, Alex B. Smith, Hunter, Dr. Chuck, who's absolutely rolling, Matt Joseph, Drew Martin, Teddy Covers, phenomenal team, Nick Borman in soccer, as good as Carmine Bianco. You guys can get a month of any of their plays for $210. Please use the promo code PT210. You can see it at the bottom of the screen. That is PT210. Andrew, I'll go to you first on this the Vancouver, Minnesota game. Vancouver really doing well now. 30-19, 3-2 on the season. They're plus 110 going into Minnesota. A total of 6. Minnesota played, other than 5 or 6 minutes against Chicago, they played such an outstanding game. They're completely overachieving. Minnesota, look, they won one, lost one, won one, lost one. They've only won 4 of their last 10 games, and Vancouver has lost their last 2. Before that, they had won 5 in a row. Alex, I like Vancouver to right the ship after their 2-game mini losing streak. I think it's a good spot for them. I like Vancouver plus the 110.
Yeah, in my whole life, I haven't really liked betting on Minnesota or betting against them, especially at home, because that's the only place that they seem to play well. I'd rather fade them when they're on the road. But like you said, that game against Boston, that was one of those games where it was a real eye-opener to us that, hey, even though Vancouver is doing so well in this league right now, Boston has the experience. They're the more veteran team, and out the break, they've looked so solid. But the Canucks right now, they're a team that, this might sound like a very simple stat, but they've had such success against poor teams with below 500 records. I believe it's 5 or 6 straight wins for them. They don't really let their foot off the gas pedal. They don't take teams lightly. Kind of, what we started the week off with Dave talking about how teams take Detroit lightly. I don't think Vancouver will take Minnesota lightly, especially after, their loss against Boston. Not only losing to Boston, but getting shut out, Prez. To me, that's a lot worse than just taking the loss. So I like Vancouver as well here.
That's a great point. Sorry, that's a great point, Andrew. Oh, my God. I did 100 flies. 100 flies. My chest is killing. Dave Koken, how many flies or bench presses or arm curls did you do?
Let's
get on with the game.
Okay.
What do you like, Vancouver or Minnesota?
I'd have to look at the Vancouver side for a lot of the reasons that were just mentioned by Andrew. Look, Stalock's been good at home for Minnesota, so that's a little bit of a concern. And Vancouver is not off their best game. Let's put it that way. The Bruins sent him a little message the other night. But I do like the way the Canucks are playing. I think they're the better team at this point, and the price is not going to scare me. So that it looks to me, I'm not going to say it's value on Vancouver, but it's not a bad play. Let's put it that way.
Okay, one last game to talk about before we get into the last minute of play. And, of course, at the end of the show, we'll give out Vivian's parlays. Dave, I'll go to you first on this game. Calgary versus Nashville. Calgary minus 115. Over and under is 6.5 here. Calgary in a little bit of a free fall. Lost their last two. Lost 4 of their last 5. And Nashville really coming on strong. They've won 3 of their last 4. It wasn't a couple of days ago where all of us were talking about Nashville not being for real.
They're not.
Yeah, and that's why I like Calgary here, Dave.
Well, I do like Nashville in this spot. It's a last gasp, if you will, for a team that I still think is not a playoff caliber team. But they're coming off a good win at Winnipeg. And listen, Giordano being out for Calgary is huge. He's a real key to that team. Team leader. He definitely provides offense from the blue line. And it's a big injury for them. And he's not going to need surgery, but he's definitely out. And Nashville does have a little bit of positive momentum coming into this game off a good win. They've also done really well in this series. The road team actually has won 6 out of 7 in this series. So I shouldn't say Nashville's done real well in this series. The visiting team has consistently done well in this series. I don't like the way Calgary's playing right now. They were not good in the matchups with Edmonton. They managed to win one, but they looked awful in the other game. Came out of that with a bad game. I think you mentioned they're in a little bit of a slump, and I would not be surprised if that slump continues tonight. I like the Predators here.
Dave Koken with us, one of the best baseball handicappers on the planet. Me and him do a daily show. It starts end of March, Monday to Friday. It's called First Pitch. And yeah, the chemistry between Dave and I, as you all know, is excellently bad or terribly excellent, depending on how you want to look at it. Great show, that First Pitch. Make sure to check that out. Also, Joe Ranieri's NBA show every day. 3 to 4 guys every day. Ski Prophet, Tony Finn, Rob Vino, Dr. Chuck. A real fun show. And Drew Martin's podcast as well. So check all of that out and make sure to head over to sportsmemo.com. Use the promo code PT210. $210 for a month of anyone's plays. Andrew McGinnis, talk to me about this Calgary game.
Yeah, while we're promoting shows here, Prez, I wanted to say to all the viewers that complain that we don't do weekend shows, there's possibly a great chance over the next several weeks I'll be doing a show on Friday with Drew Martin going over the Saturday games for the big Saturday hockey card. So stay tuned for that and check it out so that way we can get some looks at the weekend games. As far as this game goes, I think it's obviously important to mention, of course, Mark Giordano. Different reports came out about his hamstring. He said he tore it. He's a huge loss for them. I think this Calgary team, as much as we all think they have decent goaltending, their defense has not been good. Some of their young guys are really they just don't care to back check, to get back there, to defend their own zone. They feel like they can just use their offensive capability. Gaudreau, Tkachuk, Lindholm, and Monahan are combined minus 56 on the season. And this is a pretty good team, as we all know. So that just goes to show to me, they're not putting their full effort in on the defensive side of things. The last time these two teams met was at the end of October of this season, and the score was 6-5 for Calgary. I'm going to look towards the over in this game here, staying off the side completely. I have no thoughts on the side, and I'm looking for lots and lots of goals here in this game here, over 6.5 for me.
Boys, it's the last minute of play. Let's go. 10, 15 seconds for each of you. Lots of games. Buffalo minus 215 against Detroit, a total of 6. I like Buffalo on the puck line, minus 1.5. Dave Koken.
Well, we'll see what Johansson does tonight because he will start for the Sabres. And things are getting away from Buffalo.
Just like last year.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm not betting the Red Wings under any circumstances.
Mr. McGinnis?
I like Buffalo as well. I also am looking at Sam Reinhart and Jack Eichel to score. A betting prop for those two guys. They're pretty much the only guys doing anything for this team. Jack Eichel, you're not going to get great odds on. With Reinhart, you will. And if you're going to play this Buffalo team, don't play them in regulation. Don't play them on a parlay. Just play them on the puck line and try and get a better number because, as we know, most games right now, when you're playing Detroit, you're not getting any value. And Buffalo does not deserve to be minus 220 against this Detroit team. I think we can all agree on that.
Yeah, and I just want to make a quick mention, everybody. If you have bet $100 against Detroit on the money line from the start of the season to now, you would be up close to $3,000. So, don't get too caught up. Minus 215, minus 300. The bottom line is, if you bet Detroit against them blindly all the way through, regardless of the line, you would be up more money than if you bet on or against any team in the league. Montreal, Anaheim. I think this is a good spot for Montreal, Andrew. Bottom line here, they got the Leafs on deck, which pleases me. So I hope Montreal goes out and slaughters Anaheim, and then we got a nice soft spot for my Toronto Maple Leafs. This team is playing good. It's feisty. It's trying to get back in the race. Minus 150. I'd like to take Montreal in regulation.
Yeah, I agree. The Montreal Canadiens are going through probably a decent 5 or 6 game stretch that's going to be their most important games of the year, where they're going to decide kind of their fate, especially before the deadline. I saw an interview with Ilya Kovalchuk, and they were talking about his future. Obviously, he's played pretty well since he came to the team, and they're pretty much deciding whether or not they're going to keep him, sign him, or trade him away for some assets or anything like that. But one thing we learned from that game where Prez cashed his 5% play-in was that they played a full 60. That's the one thing we can take away from it. And this isn't even me being biased, and we can all agree to play a full 60. That's why, that they made that comeback. So against Anaheim here, I don't think they will take them lightly, but I think that's important to mention, just like Prez said, if this was any other team that was playing, sort of a rival or, an Eastern Conference opponent that they always have big games against, maybe it could be, a bad look-ahead spot and they could show up and be light here. But I don't think that happens. However, I do think Anaheim gets a few goals here. So with this total of 5.5, even with Price back in nets, I still do like the over.
Dave, Andrew really wanted to talk about that Hab game. 2 minutes instead of 2 seconds. Go ahead, Dave Koken.
Pass. I might lean Ducks if I had to play the game, but I don't have to, and it's not going to be on my card.
New York Islanders, great overtime victory 2 nights ago. They're playing the Kings minus 194. I think they're going to keep the Kings down to a maximum 1 goal. I like the under, and I like New York on the puck line. Dave Koken.
Well, the Kings are dealing. Jack Campbell is on his way to Toronto.
Woohoo!
Yeah, huh?
I could have sworn Doughty was in that trade.
Yeah, right. I don't think the price on the Maple Leafs will be adjusted much for Jack Campbell.
No.
Anyway, but you can't play the Kings. By the way, the Kings are. Do they lead the league in shots on goal? They just fire shots from every place. It's a dumb offense because it shows that shots on goal can be totally misleading. Because they just shoot from everywhere, and they're good looks for the goaltenders. You're better off not shooting the puck on goal from 40 feet, but they just keep doing it. I don't think the team's got any clue as to what they're doing.
Okay, then. Andrew?
Trading away, 2 guys for that team. They're clearly folding, clearly don't care about the team anymore. And as much as I hate taking a puck line with this Islanders team that competes in so many close games, this is a good chance to do it.
Philadelphia against New Jersey, and here I am again looking at the puck line. Dave Koken?
The Flyers are just not the same on the road as they are at home. The Devils are still battling. But you get this Philadelphia team at home, and they're a monster. I'm not going to try and beat them here. And the Devils off another game where they give away a lead in the third period. I mean, they've just been the pits as far as that goes this season. I think Philadelphia's probably a pretty comfortable winner.
Yeah, 18-4 at home for Philadelphia. I'm with Dave on Philly winning this game. And Andrew, I also like the over.
I like the under after a game like that. New Jersey giving up so many goals in such a short span. You got to be able to right the ship and get better the following game. Philadelphia, their goaltending has gotten better slightly, and they've realized they can't be winning 5-4 games every night and competing in all those high-scoring games. So under for me.
Ottawa versus Colorado, 6.5 is the total, plus 175 for Ottawa. Everything in my bones is telling me Colorado. I have a bad feeling about them tonight. I'm passing on this game completely, Andrew.
I'm going to go. This is a perfect example for me where I'm not going to even worry about Ottawa and just take care of the Colorado Avalanche with the team total over 3.5 goals. I think they get over 3.5, but I don't want to be concerned about what Ottawa's up to tonight.
That's a great bet. Dave Koken?
Hochberg has one of the weirdest goalie stat lines in terms of wins and losses. He's 2-3 with 7 regulation or shootout losses, overtime or shootout losses. 2, 3, and 7. That is just bizarre looking. He's playing well, and I wouldn't be surprised if Ottawa hangs in for a period here. This is one of those games where Colorado coming off the easy win, and they could go in here and just not be particularly motivated early. At the price, I think you can make a case for Ottawa first period.
St. Louis hosting Winnipeg. I'm passing on this game as well. St. Louis minus 210. The over and under is 6. If I had to, I would lean on Winnipeg. I think there is value here. Andrew?
I'm passing. No thought.
Dave?
I think the Blues will score some goals here. Team total over on the Blues. That might make for an over in the game, but Binnington, he's awfully good. And St. Louis looked great in their last game. They forget about the slump. The Blues are back, so I that's the play I would make here if I'm looking at a play in this game. St. Louis over on the goal on their team total.
Dave, I like the under in the Arizona game, 5.5 against Carolina. I think we're going to get a low-scoring game.
Ranta's off 2 really good games.
Yeah.
He lost the shootout to the Blackhawks, but, I mean, he was fantastic in that game, and then comes back and shuts out Edmonton. So he's on a little bit of a roll coming in here. These are big games for this team. Carolina is certainly capable, however. I think it's maybe the best matchup to watch on the board. The lightest of leans to the Coyotes, but it's not a game I'm going to play.
Mr. McGinnis?
I was very mad at myself, Prez, for not taking Arizona against Edmonton. I literally called it one of their biggest games of the year and didn't bet them, but they did. They showed up, and not only did they win, but like Dave alluded to, they shut them out. They had a good performance defensively and goaltending wise. They have to continue right here at home. Carolina struggles on the road. This all adds up to be a good play for Arizona.
San Jose really played well against Calgary. Now they're in Edmonton. I think that's a bad spot for San Jose. I like Edmonton in regulation. I like Edmonton on the puck line, and I like over the total of 6.5. Dave Koken?
Nothing much for me. Aaron Dell's been pretty good for San Jose, and he'll be in goal tonight. I think Edmonton should win the game, but it's in the price.
Andrew McGinnis?
Yeah, Edmonton off the shutout. I think they come back here and get going against a team that's very exploitable defensively. So, we could argue for an over, but you don't know what San Jose is going to give you any given night. They're off a win, like you said. This is a team that they're going to get wins, but I don't think they're going to develop any types of streaks. So I'll bet against San Jose tonight.
Guys, it's time for the VP segment, Vivian's Parlays. She lost last night. She had a 2-teamer, lost both of them. She took it really bad. She was up for 2 hours this morning putting together tonight's parlay card. And she told me flat out, tell everyone, bet small. This is for fun. She is literally betting $5 and $10 on these parlays. She has tripled her bankroll in the last 3 months doing this. So I'm going to give out these parlays. I'm going to tell you how much she's betting. Understand, Dave, myself, Andrew, we're not out there betting a whole ton of parlays on a regular basis. So if you're betting, $100 a game, put $10 on the parlay. Okay, parlay number 1, 4-team parlay, Buffalo -1.5, over in the Pittsburgh game, over in the Florida Vegas Golden Knights game, over in the Edmonton game. $5 pays $73. Next parlay, over in the Calgary game, Buffalo on the money line at -210, and over in the Tampa Bay game, $10 pays $56. And the last parlay, Colorado on the puck line, under in Arizona and Vancouver, $5 pays $43. Awesome show, boys. I need you both back for tomorrow. And then, Carm is here tomorrow. So Carm and Andrew tomorrow. Dave, thanks for stepping in for Alex this week.
Not a problem.
Everyone, take care of yourself. Have so much fun tonight. Lots on tap. I'm the Prez, and I'm out.